Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Corey of Coriander Quilts, and this is the Works in Progress UFOs video. And I think it's gonna be a chatty one today. So if you need to pause me and go grab a coffee or a tea or a soda or whatever it is that you might like to drink as you watch, you just go ahead and do that. And if you wanna grab a snack, I would probably grab maybe some licorice. I love a good red licorice as a snack, but you do whatever you want. Actually, leave a comment below. What's your favorite snack to eat while you're watching videos or while you're sewing? I feel like red licorice is good while you're sewing because it doesn't get your fingers messy. You can just leave it by your sewing machine, but you probably have something that you really enjoy just as much as I enjoy red licorice. So this is gonna be a chatty one today, guys. I feel like I have a lot to say. I maybe didn't accomplish quite as much during my month, so I'm kind of surprised by all the things I want to share, but I've got a lot that I want to talk about. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now, behind me, we'll start with a finish. My hymn quilt is back from David. He's got it all quilted up for me, and I couldn't be happier with the way that turned out. For those of you who are new to my channel and maybe haven't heard me talk about the hymn quilt before, I collected tea towels. That's what all of these centers of the blocks are, tea towels from Fancy That Design House over the last probably 5 to 7 years. I've been collecting them for a number of years. And then the print fabrics that I've used in my sashing is from various lines of fabric by Tilda. And I just love them together. Now, Stephanie of Fancy That Design House has since started designing fabrics for Moda. So if those tea towels look familiar to you, it might be because you have seen them released as panels in some of her recent Moda Fabrics lines. So she's releasing them as panels. They aren't exactly what you see here, but they have a similar vibe. So if you like the way that looks, Fancy That Design House are some fabric lines that you're going to want to check out. And then Tilda fabrics are readily available in the United States now. They didn't used to be. I've been collecting them since they were easily available in the United States. So it's so awesome that you can get them easily now. I'm going to take a look at that quilt. We're going to take a look at that quilt up closer in just a minute. I'm thinking what I want to go next. I'm going to show you some Tilda fabrics. I pulled down some of my stash, so I thought it would be kind of fun just to look at some of those. I know not everybody is as familiar with Tilda as they are with some other fabric designers, so I thought it might be fun to look at some of those fabrics. So I've got my bin of fabrics, and I thought I would just kind of go down through these a little bit so that you can get just a little bit of a peek at what they look like. So they have kind of a, I don't know, in my opinion, sort of a vintagey kind of vibe. Lots of pretty florals, and the color palettes are just really pretty. These are a mix of different fabric lines. I kind of mix them up and then just pull from them depending on the project that I'm looking at. So some of these you could still get, some are no longer as easily available, but they're still fun to look at. And her lines all have kind of this sort of a feel. So if you like the way these fabrics just kind of, I don't know, they have just sort of a nostalgic vintagey vibe. If you like the way they feel, you would probably like some of her new collections. And by feel, I don't mean the way they feel like in your hands. I mean the vibe that they give off. Some of them have a little bit more of a, like to me this reads more 70s, but then you get some more traditional sort of prints. I don't know, I'm gonna dig down through here a little bit. We're obviously not gonna go through all of these, but I just wanted you to see kind of what they are. So I just think they're so pretty, and I've collected them for so long, and I just love having them. Oh, I have to grab some of these down here. Some of these are really cool. These little animals. I just think they're adorable. Look, like that's just the sweetest little print. Anyhow, you're getting the idea. I love Tilda. This is what Tilda looks like. Let me see, there are what I've got down here. Oh, I love like this print. I think this is so pretty. Anyhow, okay. So a little bit of a peek into Tilda fabrics. I just thought that would be fun for you guys to see. Now I'm gonna have to try to get those all back into my bin, onto my shelves, because that was one thing that I did work on over the month, was getting my sewing room more tidied up. I cleared off a lot of my shelves. I sent off a lot of fabrics to, we have a local thrift store that does charity work with fabrics that are donated. So I will oftentimes, if I have fabrics that need to be donated, I will ship things off to them. So I pared down, guys, my bin is a little a little teetery here. I pared down on some of my fabrics, moved things out, got rid of patterns and notions and things like that that I no longer needed. So yes, one thing that I did accomplish this month was getting my sewing room a little bit more in shape, and it's almost done. There's a few more things I want to do, a few more things I need to move on out, but that was a big project off my to-do list. All right, let me move Tilda to the side. And maybe we'll talk about a couple things I didn't get done. Okay, so this quilt over here, the string star, you'll remember I shared this last month. The tutorial for this block is on my blog. I wanted to get the quilt bound. It is not bound. So I did not get this done. It will be no surprise to you to know that I didn't get my other quilt bound either. I'll remind you what that one was. Another string star project. This is Ruby Strings. This is another free tutorial. I will link to both the string star block as well as the tutorial for this quilt. This is not my tutorial. It is by Film in the Fridge, and I'll link to this tutorial also. Binding, not done. So those two things did not get done. That's okay, because we got other things done. It was a really busy month. You guys probably have those months that feel like that too, where you get a lot done, but maybe it's not the things that you thought you might get done. Okay, so here's another fun thing. When I was tidying up my sewing room, one thing that I thought I got done, I realized I actually got done twice. So I think it was 2 months ago. I shared a very coriander block that I wanted to get done. And I was so excited I got this done. I think this is block 8. It's either 7 or 8 in the Very Coriander Christmas book. So I got it done. And then when I cleaned up my sewing room, I realized I had already gotten it done one other time. So I have 2 identical blocks, which is fine, but not what I anticipated. I will probably end up giving one of these blocks away. I have a little giveaway pile that I've been collecting in my sewing room too. Some extra blocks, maybe some little projects, things that I no longer need. So I think one of these blocks is probably gonna make it into a giveaway for you guys at some point in the not too distant future. But I mean, they're cute, but I don't need to. So that was kind of funny when that little block rolled in. I have a stack of Orphan blocks, I guess you would say, where I've tested blocks out as I was designing quilt patterns, or maybe needed to make a block for a blog project or something like that. So I have a stack of quilt blocks, and one of these was just in that stack, and I didn't even realize that it wasn't in with the stack of my other Very Coriander Christmas blocks. So that's how that happened, where I ended up with 2. Another finish. Some of you have already seen this because I shared this in another video earlier, and I will link to that, but I did get my Moda Blockheads quilt all pieced together. So for those of you that participated in Moda Blockheads, you know that this was an ongoing quilt along that just wrapped up, and I was excited to have mine done on time. I just need to send it out to my quilter. It's gonna get backed with Minky. This time of year makes me want to back everything with Minky, and it's gonna be a really cozy quilt. So excited to have this one done. These fabrics are all made using my Cozy Up line of fabric, which is still in quilt shops now. So you can still get these fabrics in quilt shops. And then the gray fabric is Etchings Charcoal. It's a Moda Bella Solid. Now, there is a Bella Solid that's also called just Charcoal, and that is a different shade than Etchings Charcoal. Etchings Charcoal is a warmer, more brownish gray, and Charcoal is a cooler gray. It leans more towards a black tone. So just be aware if you are looking for this color, it's Etchings Charcoal, not just Charcoal. So that one is done. And then I think we'll just go ahead and take a look at the quilt behind me up close. I want to talk about that a little bit more, talk about the quilting, share a little bit more about Minky. I did that recently, but I had some questions come up, so I want to talk about that just a little bit more. And then I want to talk about some things that have come onto my radar of new projects that I would like to make, some new things that have come into my home that I'm just excited about, and show you some of those things. So let me grab this quilt, get it down here on the table so we can look at that up close, and then we'll just keep right on chatting. Okay, and here is this quilt up a little bit closer. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. This was quilted by David of Quilting by David. And the quilting design on this is called Appleseed. And I will link to both David's website as well as pointing out the Appleseed quilting so that if you wanted to quilt using this quilting design, you could. This worked out really well for this quilt because the motif is exactly right within this square. So a repeat of this repeats right in the center of every quilt block, which I was really excited about. I think that looks so pretty. And we did Minky on the back of this one. So it is, oh, you can see the quilting so pretty there. So it is a really cozy, warm quilt. And I wanted to talk about the Minky a little bit because when I had sent this out, and I chatted about this in one of my more recent videos, but I had planned to not have batting in this project. This quilt top with the tea towels, those I had backed with a fusible interfacing to give them just a little bit more body. They were kind of, I mean, you can see they're a lighter weight muslin almost sort of tea towel, and they needed a little bit more body. So I backed them with a fusible interfacing, and that combined with the size of the quilt made the quilt top a little bit heavier than it might normally have been. So I didn't want a lot of weight, which Minky adds a lot of weight. So I thought, well, I'll just forego the batting within the quilt, and that will lighten up the weight. So David started quilting. He started up here on this little red one, started the quilting on it, and he got just a portion of this completed, just this first square, and he sent me a photo and he said, I don't know if this is the look that you want. It's a little bit flat without that batting in there. And so he suggested using a bamboo batting. It's a 4-ounce, so super lightweight bamboo batting, as opposed to no batting, so that there would still be a nice amount of definition on the front of the quilt. And he picked out what he had already quilted, added the batting back in, and then finished everything off. And I think that was such a great choice. I was so glad that he took the time to ask me because I'm so happy with the way this turned out. And the photo that he sent to me was very flat. It just didn't have that fun puffiness that you can oftentimes see on your quilts. So, and the weight of it, once I got it home, it's just perfect. So 4-ounce bamboo batting was a great option for this quilt. And I love the way this quilting looks. You can see how pretty that is on the back. It's such a really pretty quilting design. It's one that I've wanted to use for a while, and I just hadn't had the right quilt for it. But this one was just perfect for it. So I'm so glad to have this quilt done. It's been in the works, as you heard, for many years with having to collect the different tea towels and collecting the prints. So I'm real happy with it. So that is the hymn quilt. Let's move on to some projects that I'm excited that I would love a chance to work on. My husband, he sits behind the camera when we film moments ago when I said something to the effect of things that I've brought into my home, projects I've brought into my home or something like that. You can rewind about 10 minutes and you'll hear me say it. When we took the hymn quilt down to show you guys, he said, "What things have you brought into the home?" He said, and I said, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just that little pile over there on the desk." He's like, "Oh, good. I thought maybe you were talking about a cat or something like that." So not a cat. Although we have taken in 2 stray cats. It's not another cat, but just a few fun things that I would love a chance to work on. I think as we get into the winter months, I find myself itching for new projects. I don't know if you're the same way, or maybe you're collecting projects all year round that you would like to make, but it seems I'll go in spurts where something will just catch my eye and then another something will catch my eye. And it seems that October was the month of that for me. So some fun things have caught my eye recently. This book, Kim Deal's new simple double dipped quilts. I think I can make every project in this book and be a very happy girl. But this one right here has caught my eye so hard. I am crushing on this quilt here. Maple Stars, I think looks just beautiful. I love the colors. I love a maple star. So this is one I would love to make, but if you get a chance to look through this book, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Kim Deal. Every time she comes out with something new, I think, "Oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, that's fun." So I picked this book as soon as it came out. I picked it right up. I just love it. So lots of good projects in this one, but specifically, oh, that maple one, Maple Stars. Isn't that cute? I just think that's awesome. So that is a project I would love to make. And I found another free project rolled across my Facebook feed as I was doing whatever I was doing on Facebook. And it's this quilt right here. And it is called Scrappy Irish Chain. And I'm gonna lay it out here on my quilt so you can see it a little bit. But I think this would be so pretty using just scraps. I have so many scraps in my scrap bins, and I think this would be a wonderful way to use up scraps. You guys may be in the same boat where you've got an overflowing scrap bin. I feel like I always have an overflowing scrap bin. So I'm gonna link to this pattern. Maybe this is something that would be fun to sew along on the YouTube channel. Maybe we could do like a scrap busting challenge using this project or something like that. If that's something that you think would be fun, let me know. I know I've really been enjoying the sew along, so maybe we could incorporate another scrap busting challenge or something like that. I don't know. In any event, I think this pattern is such a cool one, and it looks like it'd be a great scrap busting project. So that's another one that rolled into my home in the last month. Okay, so this is not so much a project that I want to do, but it makes me want to go antiquing and buy cute things for my house. This is a new book by Stacy West, 57 Buttermilk Acres, Mixing Vintage and New for a Cozy, Inviting Home. And I'm just gonna flip through a little bit here so you can kind of see the photography and the way it's all set up are just so inviting, and it's so pretty, and it catches my eye so much. It's just a beautiful book, and sometimes it's fun to have something that's not quilty related, but still just create a beautiful vibe for your home related, and I think this is so pretty. So that's another thing. Stacy was kind enough to send me over a signed copy of this book, and I just think it's beautiful. So another recommendation that I am happy to make. I think it's wonderful. I could just peruse this one for so long. Okay, so, and then one other project magazine that has rolled on in is the New American Patchwork and Quilting magazine. This quilt on the cover by Heather is just wonderful and caught my eye right away. And I don't have a subscription to this magazine right now. I certainly have had subscriptions to this magazine many years. I go on and off. I'll have a subscription and then it'll run out and then I'll wait a little bit to renew. But I had to buy this issue as soon as I saw this cover. This is a beautiful quilt and I would love to make this one. I have a little bit of hollyberry left over. It's out of print, so you can't really get a hold of it so easily anymore, but I would love to make a hollyberry quilt using this pattern. I don't know if I'd get it done in time for Christmas. I probably wouldn't. You guys saw how my to-do list went for this month, so I don't know that I would get it done. But maybe it's something that I could work on, just a block here and a block there. Hopefully not duplicating blocks as I go along, but you know, a block here and there, and maybe I could have it done by next year for Christmas. We'll see. I think it's beautiful. So maybe you've seen that cover. I think it's wonderful. Had something else that I wanted to say and it just completely left my mind. Oh, there was the one big item on my to-do list that is almost ready to be checked off. I have a November 1st fabric deadline, and I think maybe by the time you're seeing this video, I might have been able to turn that line in, or if not, very soon. So whenever I have a fabric deadline, that always takes up so much of my time. It's good busy, but it does take up a lot of my time. So that one I am almost ready to check off my list, and that will be exciting to be done with that. It's been a really fun one to work on. They always, for me, they're really exciting to work on in the beginning, like as I'm getting all the ideas and putting all the colors together and prints, and then I really get into the nitty gritty and start working on, yes, these prints work, no, these prints don't. And so in the middle, it gets a little bit, it's a little bit more work in the middle. And then at some point in time, everything just starts to flow and it all comes together and the birds sing and the sun comes out and everything is happy and wonderful. And when I start to get that feeling about a fabric line, I know that it's just about ready to turn in, and that feeling is here and it's almost ready to turn in. So I'm excited about that, and we'll get that one checked off real soon as well. So how did you guys do on your quilty to-do list this last month? Did you have more success than me? I don't feel that I didn't have success. I just got things done that weren't on my list, and not as many things done that were on my list. So I call that a success. But I'm curious how your month went. Did you get things done? Have you added more things? Is this a month where maybe we added more than we checked off? Those are fun months too. So comment below, let me know. Let me know what you might think about a scrap challenge, maybe specifically using that pattern, because that's one that I know that I would like to do. And we'll chat again in about a month on our UFOs and works in progress, and I will catch you again then.